What's going on? We are the Defenders of Comics, and we have a very special guest. And I want to say a friend. We have Tom from Cosmic Comic History, and it's a privilege to have you, my man.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you. That's very cool. Thanks for having me. You guys are awesome.
I know the reason, but I would like for everybody to know that's going to be watching this is where did you come up with the name?
Oh gosh, I think it's got to be going on my third year. I'm losing track of time. Some kind of temporal void where I keep telling people I started a year ago, but that's not true. It's going on like 3 years. I was originally, I was originally the comic historian, and then I was immediately pounced upon by everyone saying there already is someone, and he's the comic historian, which that guy is just fantastic, and it was just too similar. So then I changed it to Cosmic Comics with like COMIX, and that just felt like so randomly 90s to me, just to change like the big X extreme kind of thing. And I on Cosmic Comic History because I wanted it to be clear that it was a comic and a history account, and just sort of like alliteration. So I kept the extra cosmic, and I instantly regret it because I always hear people, and I'm blessed enough that people have even spoken the name, but whenever I hear people speak the name, it's cosmic. No one says it right because it's just not a pleasant word to say. So I'll say anything. Like sometimes people will say, "Oh, Cosmic Comic History." I'm like, yeah, just Tom's fine. Tom.
Yeah,
I recently updated the name. I said TCH with Tom Tormey. I'm trying my best to bury the Cosmic Comic.
I love it. It fits you perfectly because that's what you teach too, correct?
Right. Yeah, I'm a middle school teacher. 22 years teach grade history, American history.
Well, I can say that Ace and I are right there with you. We have family members, wives that are in the education too. So
wait, we're going to cancel what we're going to talk about tonight, and we're going to use the whole entire time to gripe about the school system.
Oh, that would be definitely something we could do for a long time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is my wife would be so pissed off if I started down that road.
Oh yeah.
She would be like, don't do it.
I'm sure across the way there's so many fundamental flaws in the system that it's.
Yeah. We could talk and talk and talk.
Okay. Who is your favorite superhero, and what were the comics that you really latched onto when you were younger?
All right. Well, on the surface, I always say Superman is my favorite superhero because generally you're speaking to, like you're not a superhero kind of comic crowd where they're not too familiar with anyone outside of the Trinity or outside anyone that's in the MCU. So I usually say Superman, but I do mean that to an extent. I wrote my history master's degree on Superman.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, and how the comics can be used as primary sources. So I have, and that was not by choice. I was actually just doing comics in general, but then my advisor made me kind of narrow it down to Superman. And ever since then, I've really had, and that was probably in my 20s. So I had a real fixation on Superman comics, Superman, the character, the creators, the writers, the artists. But I do love, I always tell people that for anyone else who knows comics, I always say Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, and Spider-Man, of course. But
man,
Blue Beetle and Booster Gold, I just love that kind of buddy cop dynamic, and always have, and I just can't wait for them to get that right on.
Yeah.
Outside of the comic books, comic books have nailed it over so many occasions, but such an untapped media that that Warner Brothers, could just rake it in if they do it well, if they do it right. You don't even need to spend an exorbitant amount of time giving us the backgrounds of those two characters.
No, I agree. Just throw them in the heat, throw them in the fire in the first episode, and go from there.
Like time traveling cops, trying to fix things that they screwed up in the first place. It'd be a lot of fun. I think they're missing out. And of course, I mentioned Spider-Man. I mean, I just as a nerdy kid growing up in Queens, so it was always just someone I absolutely thought was fantastic or spectacular.
Well, I'm going to say that
Yeah.
you can find Tom on his Instagram, Tom on his TikToks. They're great. And I love the one that you just did with Walt Disney. I thought that was great. Now explain this a little bit. You work for Spoiler Magazine.
I do. Right. I'm the comic book editor for Spoiler Magazine. I'm blessed enough that. Oh, look at that! Wait, I gotta look at. I always look at it on my phone. It looks so much better on a laptop.
There you go.
But I was blessed enough. July of last year. I had, for the first time since I was 14 years old, I had taken the summer off to kind of just relax and enjoy myself. And I opened the inbox one day, and there was an email from a gentleman named Kent at Spoiler Magazine, and saying that he had been following the Instagram account and really liked what he saw, and thought I would be interested in taking over this position that had just recently opened. And I'm skeptical of everything I see, read, and hear, so it took me some time to. I did a little research into the person who was emailing me and the magazine itself, and was floored by how well done it was. And I got back to them within a day or two, and the rest is kind of history. I've been writing for the magazine. I depending on my time, because I work I work a full-time job and a part-time job, and now on top of that doing this. So I do the 10. Actually, I just did my first review for June, and I try to get them done, and then additionally I try and get an article, at least an article in the magazine. Otherwise, so outside of the comic book reviews, but really, I mean, what a great opportunity. I mean, it has opened so many doors for me, and it is great to see my name in print outside of the police blotter. So that was pretty cool.
It looks really cool, and congratulations on it. It looks awesome.
I wish I could take credit for how it looks, because I send over a probably 10 to 14 page Google Doc every month, and they have some, I assume, magicians and wizards that take what I've written and turn it into that fine art that you saw there. I mean, really, absolutely well done.
Nice.
I was told that the people who do the graphics for the magazine are the same people who do the graphics for the thumbnails on Netflix.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I say. I'm like, oh, the guys who do that, oh, they did my article. I'm not even sure if those are the people, but I say it anyway, and I say it with confidence.
Yeah, there you go. Look, yeah. That looks great.
All right.
Yeah, really cool.
So if we can jump into the first topic. The first topic, we want to talk about MCU movies, and the big news today is Kevin Feige is going on a retreat to plan the next 10 years of the MCU.
Yeah, I'm glad we're doing this now, because I actually have to pack. Kevin and I, Kev, as I call it.
Oh, yeah, you're going to hang out. You guys, did he get you the suite this time?
Nope. They're rooming together. One bed, twin.
We share. Man, he snores like crazy, but you know what? I'll put up with it, because genius. That's why.
Yeah.
Put up with
Yeah. I mean, you're a nice guy.
He'll be outside any minute, so I'm sure. Steps with a suitcase, just waiting for hours, and he never shows. And then
yeah.
Yeah. 10 years. He's about 10 years of the MCU. That's unbelievable. I mean, but my only concerns with this, and like, are they hedging their bets on the actors that have taken on these fantastic roles remaining in the MCU for that duration of time? I mean, because many of them, I can't speak to all their ages, but I mean, like, let's take a Don Cheadle, who is already probably in his 50s, going to be contracted to serve out into his 60s as War Machine. I'm not sure. I mean, clearly it looks like they're finding new blood for a lot of the characters anyway, and of course introducing new characters with every passing episode and every passing movie. But I just wondering if that's what they're hedging their bets on. If they're considering that Thor 7 is going to be in 10 years, what's the plan with that? I wonder.
Don't
Yeah,
you
it would
think
be
that's
hard to try to plan that with Thor because with Chris Hemsworth, they all thought this movie might be his last, and now they're hinting that maybe he'll come back. But honestly, like how do you plan something around Thor when you're unsure? Well, am I going to have him for one more movie, two, or
Right.
zero?
Yeah, I mean, and not to be morbid, but certainly in the case of the passing of Chadwick Boseman and the continuance of
Yeah.
Black Panther films without T'Challa, which we're going to see. I think what was it? Was it a late? Is it late this year that we're seeing the Black Panther Wakanda Forever?
Yeah, I think it's November.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would, I still I'm a different mind than Marvel is and Kevin Feige is on not replacing Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. I mean, I understand where they're coming from in terms of paying respect to the man, but the character was so powerful, so moving
Yeah.
that is in across decades in comic cartoons and
Yeah.
films, and I think they're really denying their audience a chance to see T'Challa on screen. Of course, played by another actor. Maybe someone, a friend of Chadwick's, or even a family member, somebody who could, respectfully keep that going. I'm very anxious. A student of mine was talking to me today about uh, if he's dead and if T'Challa is dead in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I said, I believe Marvel had said that they were not killing off T'Challa. They were not. I can't recall if that's 100% correct, but because the problem with that is that now if they don't, then it's going to give the audience this kind of false hope that we're going to see him again when it clearly is not the intention of Marvel Studios to have him on screen again.
Two things. One, we've already seen this in the movies. We saw Heath Ledger do the Joker fantastic, probably better than anyone. And I know Jack Nicholson, people are going to argue with me on that, but they've already replaced him. You
Correct.
can't, the character is bigger than the actor. And
I
I feel terrible about what happened to Chadwick, but at the same time, T'Challa needs to live because that character is so huge to the MCU and to Marvel.
right.
So they got to figure something out. But the second thing, the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is doing the perfect thing that the MCU needs because they can just blame it on the multiverse is why they're bringing in a new Iron Man or something like that.
Right. Oh, that
Yeah.
you're probably you look so different. Oh, that's because I'm Earth, 47Z or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
I think Marvel was in a tough spot because you've got to strike while the iron's hot to build on this $1 billion property. It's like we can't let it sit. Blah 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 blah. I still think it's the wrong decision because I also agree. T'Challa transcends any one actor. It's like obviously you're not going to have no one play Superman ever again because we lost Christopher Reeve.
right.
It's really I don't see after time has passed and Chadwick has been gone for a while, those kind of emotions tend to die down, and you're like, well, you know what? We have to represent this character and bring him back because he's important. We can't kill him off in all media. We'll still try to honor Chadwick in some manner, but it makes zero business sense if we just want to be honest about it. And for the character's legacy itself, you don't put that character away and shove him into a box in honor of an actor
Right.
because they're actors. I mean, it's a fictional character that is supposed to be portrayed in different ways in different media. So for them to not revisit this character down the road, I don't think they're going to do that. They obviously aren't right now.
No, I think this announcement, that announcement was so, in my opinion, so it was impulsive. It was made with passion, and
yeah.
I don't think they were thinking of the cultural and probably. I mean, I'm not sure if Disney is necessarily worried too much about a financial impact of the character, but I mean, certainly a cultural impact. Just imagine how
Yeah.
many millions of people to see the first African superhero on the screen for in the MCU. It must have been such a thrill, and such a cultural impact. And I don't know. I guess you know what I'm gonna trust that Wakanda Forever with the Black Panther so small above it. I'm gonna trust that they're going to handle it tastefully, respectfully, but at the same time, at the end of the day, we're not getting T'Challa on screen anytime soon. And
Now I'm going to ask Ace this. What direction do you see then the MCU going in the next 10 years? And not counting what movies are already going to be happening.
They're smart and they're learning how to navigate this. So actors come and go. Contracts are probably for a set amount of time. They see, hey, if we're going to do this project, you're going to sign up for X amount of sequels. So we at least have you locked in. We'll probably have to negotiate price, blah, blah, blah. But, they'll have them locked in for as much as they want and best try to predict how they go forward. So then it just becomes a storyline like, hey, are we going to, the heavy rumor is we're going to build up to Secret Wars. We're going to do Annihilation Wave on the cosmic side. We're going to plan for all these properties, and this character is going to go to Disney Plus, and this one's going to be theatrical, and we'll map all that out. But, you start talking 10 years, woof, boy, a lot of that's got to be complete guesswork, and you just still go with the flow as things present themselves. So, but having said that, with all they've learned in the last 14 years now, I think they've got a pretty well-oiled machine in how to operate and how to make these things come to fruition and navigate, age and salary and what have you. But my bigger question is still this. I think you can do all that. You can introduce new characters and phase some in and then bring some new into the fold and make them popular. But and maybe Tom, you can add what your thoughts are on this as well. At some point, you have some of your marquee characters on the bench. Now you can have Sam as Cap, you can have Riri come in as Ironheart, but people still want to see Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, and eventually they'll Thor. When Thor goes away, it's like not having Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman in your DC universe as you're going forward. So at some point, how are they gonna bring those characters back? And are they just gonna like, nah, we'll just leave them as a memory?
I in terms of the fictional character death of Iron Man in Endgame, I think if they do bring him back in any capacity, it really will diminish the sacrifice that was made at the end of the film. But
yeah,
comics we're talking about, where I think at this point the stay dead is maybe Uncle Ben. So thousands upon thousands of characters, death is just like a revolving door. And I can't imagine why they're not going to apply that philosophy to the movies, especially with the introduction, like you mentioned before, of the multiverse, which allows for just an infinite characters. But you're right. In terms of marketing, in terms of sales, in terms of merchandising, I can't see Iron Man, Thor, Spider-Man, to an extent. Captain, they've become the. I'll rule out Spider-Man for a second, even though just contractually because of the Sony thing, but just recap Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. They're like the Trinity of the MCU now. And as you mentioned with Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, I don't see really how they are going to continue without them in some capacity. I guess, like you mentioned, really going towards legacy characters. I'm okay with Sam as Captain America. I think he's going to be a great Captain America. He looks fantastic. He carried his comics well for when he was Cap. I think he's going to be a great one. I don't know if I would have put Natalie Portman as the what do they call it? The Mighty Thor. I think that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just she's such a big name. I don't see her staying around and making more movies. I don't see it. I just don't see it happening. She seems like a hard person to contract for another trilogy of movies. I just don't see how that's going to carry. I don't think I don't know if Riri Williams is going to be a big enough name to carry on as
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I think the whole genius teenager shtick is kind of going to be exclusively Peter Parker's. If I don't think the audience is taking too much to someone else with that same thing. Genius building suits. That's pretty much what. Well, that was my another major beef for what they had done with Spider-Man. But essentially, he became like kind of like an Iron Man Jr. already, and now we're gonna get a second Iron Man Jr. But I also said, when Guardians of the Galaxy was opening a few years ago, I'm like, this is gonna be it. This is it. This is Marvel's first bomb. I did not
right.
I did not in a million years see audiences going to see a tree and a raccoon and relating to it and falling in love with it. And now we're talking about 3 volumes later, a Christmas special coming up, got toys, comics. They pretty much the Guardians have completely been reshaped in the comics because of the success of the film. So I may be talking on my ass with this because the truth is I could be dead wrong about how much people are ready to accept. Maybe Ironheart is going to be huge and blow people away. Could be completely wrong. Maybe they are going to be strong enough to carry on the Marvel legacy, the MCU movies.
I think my next 10 years now, it's not going to be the full 10 years, but there's certain things that Marvel still has to get right that they haven't gotten right yet. And one is Fantastic Four. They got to get something perfect with that, just like, because that is the first true family of Marvel. So they got to get that right. The second one, second one, in my opinion, is they got to get the Hulk right. The Hulk has not been right yet.
But is he back in MCU fully yet? I think that's
not to my knowledge. I mean, I think it's still. They can't just have a Hulk movie because I believe they still have to,
have
tie
it in with
Universal and whatever the distribution rights, something like that. But so I still think if they can, obviously they can have Hulk in the movies. I just don't think it can be called Hulk. It would have to be I think maybe they could get by if they title it something else and there's other characters in there. Then even if he was the lead character, I think they might be able to get by with it. But I don't know. I mean, I would say, and I don't know what everyone thinks about this, but I felt like The Incredible Hulk is an underrated movie. And I think Edward Norton nailed Bruce Banner to a T. And the Hulk in that one was savage as could be. That scene where he bursts out of the walkway and lands and just roars at the army, and I'm like, that's the Hulk, man. Yep. So, and I thought he was pretty great in the first Avengers, and then has kind of started to not become the Hulk. And now Professor Hulk is such a far cry from what we want to see. I think it's like, oh boy, we'll see what they can work on with that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Professor Hulk thing either. I just
it just went on too long.
Yeah.
The other
seemed like a gag that didn't need to play. It got played out quick.
Yeah. The other thing they have to get right and get going is XMen. And that could take forever. That could be almost 10 years right there trying to get that right. And then the last one for me is they got to get something going with like Nova and Adam Warlock and all them.
That's true.
Well, at least that one is easier because they're starting fresh with Adam Warlock and Nova, and they've already got that foundation of the cosmic side of things with Guardians. So I think that'll be their easiest thing to get going. But I'm still, and Fantastic Four, you kind of see where there's an inroad, maybe somewhere I think we can see maybe where that is, but trying to put together the X-Men, in my opinion, and I have confidence they'll pull it off, but I am still like, oof, that's going to be a challenge. You have like how many X-Men movies?
Right. I'm hoping that they don't throw all the X-Men at us at the same time. I'd be okay
Yeah.
with 2 or 3. To start with. I don't need the entire team recast and thrown at us instantly. I'd be okay with drips and drabs.
Give us a base.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd like to see I mean, this is the old school in me. I'd like to see just give me a Cyclops project. Like where we see Cyclops coming as a young adult, he's got his powers, and maybe we see him get befriended by Professor X and really see the true origin of the original X-Men, where we get the main 5. You know, the first 5, they start out and we get them, and they can accelerate it quicker, you know, because they can't go very long without Wolverine.
No.
You got to have Wolverine.
That's the money.
Whether
right
you
there.
like him or not, you got to have Wolverine pretty quickly. But I don't know. I like your idea of starting a little slow. You know, throw in maybe a couple Disney Plus series. I don't know, something like that.
If the Doctor Strange movie is hinting at the presence of Patrick Stewart as Professor X, does that mean we are now just committing to seeing the Fox X-Men in the MCU?
No, in my opinion, just because it's opening the multiverse, so this is just going to be a version of somebody in the Illuminati, and it just happens to be him. I think this multiverse is going to blow it open for them. 10 years, 20 years down the road, Iron Man, and all that start all over.
I don't know though. I think it is potentially going to be. You're both going to be right. I think this is going to show that those X-Men movies are just like Spider-Man. Now, you know, the first 5 Spider-Man movies are kind of canon in a sense. I mean, we have Tobey and Andrew in an MCU produced movie, Sony co-produced, and so in a weird way, they're canon. And so I think they're going to show, in my opinion, that all those old X-Men movies are also part of this. But I do think you're right, Coach, that this particular Professor X is not going to be that Professor X, even though it's still Patrick Stewart. So I think you're both right on that regard.
I'd be happy to be wrong because I actually don't want to revisit the cast. I don't. I mean, I love Jackman, but let's start over. Let's start with someone fresh, young, unknown, as Hugh Jackman was. You know.
Yeah.
I
agree. I love Hugh Jackman, but I mean, you know, at some point you can't keep that physique you start getting over 50.
Right.
I mean, it ain't gonna happen. I mean, I guess you can do it, but it's gonna be hell.
Well, I mean, I would not. I'll coach him if he needs it.
Yeah.
I'll you know, give him.
Yeah. Well, he might still give you a call. He probably still wants to be in shape. So.
Well, and if Feige ever picks you up, just tell him hi for us. And
yeah. Is he?
I mean, if you gotta go, if he's honking.
Yeah.
That wasn't him. That was just
okay.
Oh, okay. Well, if you got to bounce, you got to, you know.
They flip me off as they drive by. I'm not sure. That wasn't him though.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here is a bigger mess. We're going to segue from MCU, and we are going to go to a bigger mess to the DCEU. What direction is this going, and what are your hopes and dreams? Let's say dreams, and then almost like worries that's going to happen.
I am floored that I'm hearing that General Zod, played by Michael Shannon, is that is going to be in Flash movie.
Yeah.
So he's going to be in the movie, and Henry Cavill is not. You know, I mean, and not to say that I even want Henry Cavill in this. I'm just saying I want him. And here I am. I sound like such a hypocrite at this point because I'm saying it's okay to move past Hugh Jackman, but yet I'm still raving about, because I think Hugh Jackman had his chance. For sure. Logan, with just a beautiful film that gave his character the proper ending.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Ever got to see beyond Man of Steel, which I still think is a fantastic film. We have not got to see Henry Cavill really show his potential.
Right.
Superman,
That's why we're still so adamant we want Henry back, because he never got that. Well, I mean, he had his moments, but he didn't get a chance to shine as Superman. Hugh Jackman had multiple projects as Wolverine, some better than others, but he had multiple action scenes, moments that define Wolverine as Hugh Jackman, and we haven't quite got that with Henry Cavill yet, even though we know the potential is there, man. He is, like, in my opinion, I mean, he embodies everything about Superman in the in this time. So,
and both of them, Henry Cavill, Hugh Jackman, seem like, despite the fact that they are ridiculously good looking, in great shape, and millionaires, still seem like the kind of guys you want to hang out with. Henry Cavill would fit right. We could just move over one square, and he would blend in just fine because he knows stuff. He loves the.
And he wouldn't be intimidated by all of our good looks. You know, he wouldn't feel like, oh man, I don't measure up. You know,
I know
he would be cool like that. So
yeah. You know,
he's a great guy.
So you root for guys like that to succeed. You want them to succeed. So when you hear about that, you know that Henry Cavill is kind of like being pushed off to the side, and I instead of seeing like Superman versus Batman 2, we're seeing like Ezra Miller versus Hawaii round 4, and I'd rather. Yeah, no, all right.
No, it's bad. Round maybe 5 coming up. We don't know.
And I want more, but you know what? They did handle Peacemaker so well. I think what WB needs to do is open up their purse and give James Gunn all the money he wants, the keys to the kingdom, and let him be the Kevin Feige of the DCEU.
Ooh.
He has handled the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. He took a character that a character and an actor, to be honest with you. You know, John Cena, if he stopped tomorrow, I probably wouldn't have noticed. But he took both a character and an actor that I didn't really particularly care for. I'm not gonna lie and say like I've ever willfully picked up a comic book that had Peacemaker in it prior to the show. And then the show comes along and, you know, John Cena's staring into the mirror, crying, thinking about his little brother, and I'm crying right along with him. And I'm like, my God, this is spectacular.
Peacemaker was great. Yeah.
And James Gunn did with Peacemaker what he did with Rocket Raccoon and Groot. He turned characters that people like me didn't particularly care about into characters that I identified with, that I fell in love with, and I was rooting for. If you do that with the rest of the MCU, even if they're taking I can't tell you how excited I was when Disney bought Marvel, and then, you know, when W pushing the DCEU, kept saying like, oh, they have thousands of characters to choose from. I do hope they exploit their catalogs, and they certainly did that with the Suicide Squad. They certainly did that with Peacemaker, and I can't wait to see where they're going with season 2. I want the Flash movie to come out just because this sounds terrible. I just kind of want it over with at this point.
Right. Yeah.
That's
rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
It's holding everything up. I mean, you know it is.
I agree with you. It is holding everything up. Right. It's holding up what could be either the resetting of the DCEU or the continuation, whatever it is. I'm not sure. But and the thing is, unlike Kevin Feige, who's going away to figure out the next 10 years, I don't think the DCEU has the next year ready. I mean, it looked like they did that.
Yeah.
Promo reel. They were showing clips, releasing all of it.
Yeah. This was the year of heroes.
And then you know what? Maybe not this year. Next year.
Yeah.
For them back another year. So they don't know what they're doing this year, let alone in 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally like 2 weeks later after that promo from the Super Bowl. Oh, the year of heroes, 4 DC movies. Not so fast. There's only going to be 2. Oh, well, 3, but we pushed 2 of them back. It's like, oh, guys.
And I
Yeah.
want to. I mean, I will support anything comic books, but I really, even though I think my children have passed the age where they'd be interested in the super pets,
Oh,
the art just looks terrible to me. I mean, the character.
Ace is going.
Yeah.
to the
Well,
Super Pets?
Yes.
I don't know.
You will.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably going too, but
Yeah,
the character designs look terrible to me.
they look bad. They look real bad. Yeah.
I tell
don't
you,
know.
I will say this, Ace. We talked about this Tuesday a little bit with Black Adam, and I've been thinking for the last 2 days about what we were talking about with Black Adam, and it's gave me a glimmer of hope of what's going on. And the reason I have hope is because they're not going to pay the highest paid actor what they're paying him without a plan to do something big. And my hopes is what we talked about. Henry Cavill's announced this summer that he is signed. And I think 100% it's going to be for a solo Superman, Justice League 2. It's going to be something with The Rock and Henry Cavill meeting, because that's what both of them want gigantically.
Right.
And then you're already moving forward with Aquaman. You're already moving forward again with Wonder Woman. I think there's more hope here. It's just the ball can't get rolling because how long the merger took. And now you have even another roadblock with the mess with Ezra Miller.
Yeah, now to me, I agree. I think if you're a Snyder fan, or even if you're just a fan of those characters and those portrayed by those actors, I think there's a lot of hope that, like you said, Coach, you're definitely Wonder Woman will have a third movie. Aquaman's here. Flash is messy, but you know what? And I don't want to be calloused about it. It's like they're not gonna bench the Flash character. They're gonna recast the Flash. So I mean, it's tragic what's going on with Ezra. I mean, my profession is mental health, so he's definitely having a mental health breakdown, whether it's brought on by just pure mental illness or drug induced or both. It's happening, but he can't continue at this time. So you'll get a new Flash. But here's the thing: you got Discovery merging. You got a new regime. David Zaslav. He said it himself in the trades. Superman's a priority. You have The Rock, the biggest star in the world. They share the same agent with Henry Cavill. I agree. They're going to say, like, look, the fan interest is there for Henry Cavill. Everyone wants Henry back as Superman. There was balking at maybe wanting to pay him. The new regime is going to say, let's do this. We're going to team him up with The Rock. Somehow Black Adam and Superman are going to clash. In their minds, it's like $1 billion. So I really think you're right that is going to happen. And I think a lot of stuff can keep going forward if they smooth out the edges. Now, the only hiccup to me is Batman, because now you have Matt Reeves' Batman, which was awesome, but it is its own thing. It is over here. So how are you going to have a connected DC universe? And I love him I love Michael Keaton, but with a 70-year-old Batman, and Ben Affleck ain't coming back, I don't see how that works, where you have all the pieces there minus Ben Affleck, and you have a young Batman over here in his own little universe. To me, that Batman seems to be the one that is kind of messing up this cohesion.
Did you know? I mean, his absence was noticeable at the, and I'm pretty sure it's okay. When all the heroes are gathering,
Yeah.
Batman there, and that had to be
no Batman.
Now, I mean, they didn't have Henry Cavill for the scene. They used some standard actor. I saw his account on Twitter, TikTok, but and same thing with, I believe, Wonder Woman as well. But Batman completely absent. Now, I mean, that's missed, but with a situation like this, you could tell it was willfully done.
Right.
I'm guessing that the absence of Batman is part of their agenda. Because WB in the past has been known to sideline characters from projects as to not confuse the general audience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think Batman may be potentially just sidelined from the DCEU for a while. So that this Matt Reeves movies can use his characters, use the Batman himself. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm not sure.
I think that could be too, because there is a contingent of the Batman fan base that don't like him interacting with the other superheroes. They think Batman is better alone in his own little Gotham world where there's not really any superpowers.
Yeah.
And and they throw Batman in here. Well, it just doesn't make sense anymore. He doesn't have any powers. You can say he's going to beat Superman, but in reality, so there's that contingent of fans that want that to happen, and maybe that's where Warner Brothers are like, well, maybe that's what we do. We have all of them over here, and Batman's implied or remembered, but we have young Batman over here on the other spectrum.
I still swear the hardest thing on that is such the confusion for your typical fan that is so confused. And I think you have the problem either way with Michael Keaton or if Ben Affleck comes back. Batman is too old for this to go forward for too many years. Henry Cavill and them are not. They are at the prime age. Batman, Ben Affleck would be too old.
You're right. Ben's already 50 or 52. I mean, that's already getting a little up there for maintaining that physique. So,
and Flash is coming out this year, correct? It was that
move back.
No, it got pushed to June of next year. It's like, oh my gosh, it's so long.
That literally would have been 4 different, if you count the Super Pets, it would have been 4 different Batman on the screen in 1 year. Between Matt Reeves, between Super Pets, and I believe it is Ben and Michael are both Batman.
They're both in the Flash. Yeah.
Would have been so cool. I mean, that would have been pretty cool. 4 different Batman 1 year.
It's cool and also confusing because they can't freaking figure it out on what one they want.
Well,
even Robert Pattinson's the one we should have, without a doubt.
And I got to tell you, Ben Affleck had some amazing scenes. That fight in the warehouse was spectacular.
Woo. Yeah,
it's legendary. I can watch that clip over and over.
Yeah, it is.
I'm okay with Ben Affleck. I'm just a realist saying he's too old for them to make too much going forward.
I mean, he's getting to the point where he could be the old man Bruce soon.
He just doesn't fit a long-term plan. If you're trying to really get this universe solidified and go forward for another 10 years, you can do that still with Jason, Henry, and Gal, and whoever you have replace Ezra. If you want Ben Affleck, you're talking 60-year-old Batman. Well,
65 probably almost.
Yeah, so again, it's just this Batman, the whole thing is kind of muddying the waters in my personal opinion on how they can solidify everything. So I know that the new regime wants to have more of that they're searching for the Kevin Feige role again, and that Zaslav really does want a more connected universe and still allow for some Elseworld movies like Joker and then the Batman. But I don't know that they're going to pull it off. I mean, do you guys think they can actually pull this off with this new regime? You think the willpower's there? Do you think? I don't know. I mean, I just don't know that there's another Kevin Feige out there.
I think they have better luck continuing with solo projects that are independent of a connected universe. I mean, The Batman nailed it. Joker, phenomenal film. There's no need to have it. And you know what? Sorry to say, even though I'm a DC guy at heart, all they're going to do every single time is people are going to constantly compare it to the MCU. People are going to find the DCEU wanting. It's always going to come up wanting. It's never going to match what the success and level of organization that the MCU has. I think I would be okay, although I would be sad to see it go because I do really enjoy the films. I mean, anyone who tells me they don't like Batman vs Superman, I'm like, yeah, but you see the Ultimate Edition? It's really, really good.
Yeah, exactly.
I would hate to see it go, but I do think you're trying to. It's like a ship just riddled with holes, and you're trying to patch them at this point. It's best to let it sink and just let it go.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I think the new regime is going to try to right that cohesive universe ship, and I'm not real confident they have the ability to do that. So I think you're right. I don't know how they'll pull it off, but to me, and this is just me being selfish, it's like I'm starting not to care about the cohesive universe. I was more interested in that. Now it's like all I really care about is just give me Henry Cavill back as Superman, because everything else I'm looking forward to. The Flash, Aquaman, Shazam. I think they'll get bounced back with Wonder Woman 3. The Batman was amazing. Black Adam is my most anticipated DC movie by a mile. So just give me a quality Superman, preferably with Henry Cavill, and I'm going to be pretty happy.
And me just being a realist, they have too much money wrapped up into Dwayne Johnson to not go for it.
That's the hope.
And well, they're introducing like at least 6 or 7 other DCEU characters within the film. You know, how to connect from the past to the present, which I assume that the entirety of Black Adam is not going to be in the past. But you know, I'm wondering how many of them are going to stick around. And but you're right. I mean, they are trying. It seems. It just doesn't seem like they have that plan in place, that cohesiveness that we're now using. But I just think, I mean, every single moviegoer is going to care to what the MCU has done over the last 14 years. You know, and it's not fair to them because they're great artists making these movies, great directors making these movies. And at the end of the day, no one's going to get, very few people are going to get past the MCU's existence in terms of comparative viewing.
I agree.
Well, and then all of us here are going to be, you know, super excited about a multiverse or think that's interesting or understand it inherently because we've read the comics. But Coach and I'll use our wives as examples of like, well, they watch it because we watch it, or, you know, they're not invested in it. So they're the casual viewer. They're the vast majority of people. And then if they're confused about it, they're like, why is there 2 Batman and what is this?
So that's Barry Allen and that's Barry Allen. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah. It's like,
it's too much.
Where's Superman? Oh, now it's now Supergirl's Superman. What's happening?
A few years ago, the WB did this. The Bat embargo, the Aquaman embargo, where they just prohibited the use of the characters for the same exact reason. You know, you know, people get annoyed at that. Sometimes they say, but we would understand. Yeah, we might understand. But you, as you mentioned, you know, the casual moviegoer, the casual viewer is not going to understand.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Well, I'll just ask one more question about DC. So, out of both of you, which DC movie that's in the can or that's in production are you most looking forward to?
You know what I'm actually looking forward to is these side projects that no one seems to be talking too much about, the ones that are going right to HBO Max. So I'm looking forward to things like Blue Beetle. I'm looking forward to Batgirl. And you know what? People kill me. I'm okay with the Wonder Twins. You know?
Oh, Tom,
you're out.
We want Apache Chief or Black Vulcan.
I got Black Vulcan.
If they are, I will lose my mind. I would lose. Oh my God, it's Apache Chief. Like I would ruin size. I would be in my glory. Listen, it's like when people reacting now to Sony's announcement of what El Muerte, is that the character?
Oh yes.
Yeah. And people are like, oh, what, you don't like Bad Bunny or something like that? I'm like, that's his name, right? Bad Bunny, right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with that. But why in the world? Who is this character? I love comic books. I tell you, I barely knew that this character existed until 2 days ago.
Had two two
Two
comics.
issues. That's it. That's
Okay.
all he's ever appeared in.
All right.
He's
So
only been in 2 issues.
thank you for letting me know. I did not know that. So I felt like I should have known, and I had no idea who this guy was. So that was my issue. Why in the world are you pulling this out?
Right.
No, I was reading DC. I'm still, my son and I love DC versus Vampires, and in it, Zan meets a terrible fate, but Jane is still around, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what? They it looked like they were pushing her to like the forefront for a couple, like at least an issue, and then they just abandoned her character altogether. But I was okay with that. I'm like, oh, this is cool. I want to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And kind of like what the DCEU does, they did nothing with it. It just went nowhere.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it since. I believe, but I'm looking forward to those little ones that are just kind of flying under people's radar. And Batgirl looked amazing. I mean, that costume looked so comic accurate.
That's true.
You know, I'm looking forward to it. It did seem like it was filmed quickly. When things like that are filmed quickly, it scares me. But
Yeah. Well, they're bumping up effects because they're thinking about taking it to the movies.
oh, really? I did not hear that. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's just a rumor that they are wanting to do that. So yeah.
They must have some faith in the film. That's a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am looking forward to. I really enjoyed the first one, so I'm looking forward to Shazam.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be good. I just like that actor. I like the funniness, but it's not over the top funny, and just some good action. So
that is Captain Marvel.
I love Shazam.
That's like they took a comic book from the 1940s and put it on the silver screen. Just so silly and fun and wholesome and just pure entertainment. Absolutely, I agree. That's a great one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just
All right.
Wonder Woman was in it. I think they confirmed a cameo.
Yeah, they
Yes,
did. They did.
But I heard today
Mm.
people were going nuts that it wasn't Gal Gadot, and what they end up finding out is that it was a dream. And he was just because this Shazam has never met Gal, so he wouldn't even know anything about her. But it was a dream sequence that he was dreaming someone was Wonder Woman.
Uh,
Oh, I thought she filmed the cameo. I don't know though for sure. I don't know.
They said it wasn't
So-
her.
Really? Well, we'll find out. But it'd be neat if it happened.
Yeah.
the old dream sequence, the surest way to piss people off.
Yeah, he's a boy
Right.
still. I mean,
You know.
Yeah,
all right,
but he's a late teen now, so come on.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. We won't talk too long on this next thing. Some new these are the best pictures that I have gotten, but some stills from the Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And the one that's really getting me, and I don't know how well you all can see it, is this one with Captain Carter.
Is there something to the right of it, or is Captain Carter is the focus, right? Is there anything?
Captain Carter, and this right here is Wanda.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Let's
Yeah,
just say-
she's squaring off.
Yep.
And that's Monica Rambeau up there as. Is that
No,
wrong?
I think it. You think it's her?
Supposed to be. I
Um,
think it's Monica's mom from the first Captain Marvel. So what was her name? She was best friends with Carol.
Yeah. What was her
And
name?
I think that she is that universe's version of Captain Marvel. So she must be in the Illuminati there.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, listen, I'm psyched that Marvel is releasing these now, because that to me means that the whole movie is going to be even more. There's going to be so many more things to process and entertain us with.
Yeah.
Because usually Marvel will go out of their way to hide things in the trailer, and here they
Yeah.
are, those at the forefront. They weren't subtle about it. I'm hoping that that's just the icing on the cake.
I am sort of weird because I really, really want Wanda to be the Scarlet Witch that we all know in the comics and just freaking annihilate almost everybody. So Captain
I
Carter
think you're
would
gonna
have
get your wish.
Captain Carter would have no chance against Scarlet Witch. I mean, zero. So I don't even want to see that there was a fight or even a close fight. It should she could have ripped Thanos in half, if you remember, with no problem. So she's now more powerful than that.
That's my prediction. I've tried to stay away from spoilers, so this is just my prediction. I mean, we all know the Illuminati's in it. Who for sure is in the Illuminati, we don't know, but I think Wanda wipes out most, if not all, of the Illuminati. I don't see them allowing her to kill Captain Carter because she's kind of caught on with What If and all that. But yeah, my prediction is Wanda, she's coming in right there. Something's happened. She's, another loss, and I think she's totally cracked now, and I think she wipes out the entire Illuminati. So we get to see Professor X die again.
You know what? All right. Third time's a charm, I guess.
Right. Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Well, the Last Stand, they killed him. Logan, they killed him. And now they come here, too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about Logan. That was okay. Yeah.
How many ways
you're right.
Professor X die on screen?
I think you're right about that one.
I'd be okay with Scarlet Witch being the villain, too, because you have that connection with her already. You have that emotional connection with her already. And they definitely need a big bad to carry them through Quantumania, which I think is the last of the 6 films they're releasing over the next year and a half, right? So
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
She would make it and she could literally cross medium, she could appear on season 2 of What If. She could do all these things. So I think I'm with you. I think she's the big bad of the film, and I'm with you too. I've completely avoided spoilers. I like to just enjoy. I generally stick, I try to stay away from people, doing the whole, I have a theory about this. WandaVision, the WandaVision theories and spoilers.
Oh yeah, those were everywhere.
I remember somebody zooming in on like the wallpaper. And like that clearly is Mephisto. I'm looking. I'm like, what are they seeing? But they saw something. I think ultimately jumping the shark of the theory. Me. So I try not to get involved with that at all. I just enjoy the movie when it's released.
We did with WandaVision, Coach and I, and I'll let Coach elaborate too. But we learned our lesson with that series.
But I'm going to say this too. WandaVision, unlike any other that has been, left all those teasers that were right there, very noticeable, and nothing. And man, when you bring in Quicksilver from the XMen and it's nothing, they're doing it on purpose to you.
That was
that hurt.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
Ralph Boner.
Yeah.
It's a boner joke.
It's a boner joke.
I think that was absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. That was totally on purpose. They let's just screw with them. Let's just screw with them.
Yeah.
Let's name the guy.
Yep.
And call it a day.
Exactly.
I was down by that. I was.
Yeah, that was a bummer for sure.
You all ready to talk about Moon Knight 5, 5th episode?
Not without crying.
I don't want this is going to be a little spoilers. We're not going to go into gigantic detail. We could be here for another hour. But first off, what did you think of your first impressions of it?
I absolutely I love the series. I especially love that so far. I correct me if I'm wrong. You guys probably know better than I. I don't think they've really referenced anything else in the Marvel universe as of yet. I know there were even questions about whether or not Moon Knight was connected, but I think they did confirm that it was. But I enjoy it as its own standalone thing. I don't believe Oscar Isaac is contracted for anything beyond the series, but then
that's what they said.
Right, but that's what they said. So I tend to, when they say that, I'm like, maybe that because he is, and I start to question everything, but I'm sure you guys do too. But I really enjoyed it. It was emotional. I love that Moon Knight as a costume character was in the episode for roughly 5 or 6 seconds. Other than that, it was just our two personalities carrying us through the show. Trying to describe that show to someone, it is impossible, but so enjoyable. And what a tearjerker it was. Really, really sad, really emotional episode.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac gave a Emmy award-winning performance, in my opinion, through the whole series. But with that episode really brought it home. I thought, I was like, wow, and I was, as a fan, really pleased to see that they showed his Jewish roots.
Oh yeah.
Because Mark his father's a rabbi. He's Jewish. It's a pretty big thing in the comics, actually. And it's like, oh, okay, we never had that mentioned, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was really glad to see that. So
yeah, they were not so. I think in one of the episodes you might have noticed, where someone pointed out that he had a Star David necklace on, which was freeze frame kind of thing. Like but you're absolutely right. They just went full force in it with this episode, completely the Jewish heritage, which was great.
Yeah. Now I will say this, and I'm with you, Tom, on the. I thought this episode was phenomenal. I didn't need Moon Knight in costume in this episode because it was so good. However, I'm also a little disappointed that would be great if this was episode 5 out of 10. This is episode 5 out of 6.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I'm starting to feel like I wish we had a little more Moon Knight. I am a fan of the Moon Knight character as much as I love what they presented to us in the performances. It's like, woof, man. Maybe we could have used like maybe 2 more episodes to ramp up the action when we're only going to get 1. Now, hey, I'm judging that without seeing the last episode. I might maybe like, hey, that's more than worth it. But that would probably be my only little quibble, despite how phenomenal this episode was.
Yeah, I think this should have been almost like a second episode situation, not the second to last. I'm not saying I didn't like it, because I did enjoy it. What I told Ace about this is, and I've enjoyed the whole series, but Moon Knight is one of the most physical superheroes that is in the MCU, and we've only had like one really big action sequence so far. Even Wanda started having more, towards the end, and what's going on right now with Moon Knight. And I hope the last episode's unbelievable, that we'll see it all.
There's a lot to resolve in one episode.
A lot.
You have the Ethan Hawke's character, his name is escaping me at the top of my head. You have now Stephen Grant having to be rescued. You have his relationship with Layla, right? Layla.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then of course getting Khonshu out. There's a lot to resolve in one episode.
There is a lot to resolve. And the rumor is it's only 42 minutes long, one of the shortest episodes. I can't confirm that. I just saw that online today.
You know what?
But if that's true, that's
like,
not guys. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna wrap this up in a satisfactory way. I hope I'm wrong though, because I really like the show, love it. I would have liked to seen just a little more Moon Knight action. Balanced it out. It's like you go back and watch the Daredevil episodes. You at least got one pretty great Daredevil action sequence in each episode. There may have been 1 or 2 episodes where it was pretty light, but out of 13, you probably had 10. I just feel like that kind of a pacing is something that seems a little off with the Marvel Disney Plus shows. I loved most of them, but and you can kind of see the structure. It's like, okay, you get $150 million. That's basically what we would give you to produce a movie. And so you've only got so much to go around for the action sequences. So you end up kind of clumping them together. And it's starting to show a little bit of a pattern to me. But overall, I still really like the shows. I can't really say. I mean, I really liked Hawkeye. I just love that one too.
Hawkeye was great. Well, what if I could toss? I haven't. What of the MCU shows so far? What is your least favorite?
Least favorite. Gosh, I think. Do we count What If or
That's
should
what I
we
was going to
count it?
ask.
I would imagine so, since we're seeing Captain Carter on the screen, so we're definitely
Yeah,
MCU. Yeah.
I guess half of What If didn't really click for me, and half I thought was amazing.
Right.
Like the last two episodes and then the Doctor Strange one were phenomenal, but a lot of the other ones were kind of ho hum. I'd probably say What If, and then honestly, I think Falcon and Winter Soldier would be the next least favorite of mine. I mean, because I absolutely loved WandaVision, absolutely loved Loki, and I loved Hawkeye. And so far, Moon Knight would have to like utterly suck terrible because he's such a favorite character of mine. So that's how I rank it. I don't know, Coach. What do you think?
I would go What If first. And not because I didn't like him, but it's just that's not how I think is that far, crazy thoughts like what if Black Panther was Star-Lord, T'Challa was Star-Lord. Um I'm gonna make you all probably mad. I would say probably Loki would be my next one.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
it's
Yeah.
just it just was so, in my opinion, slow. And I know there was a lot of important information. I get that, but it was just slow. It didn't get me.
Oh,
And so far, I
Yeah.
think Hawkeye is my favorite, or WandaVision.
Yeah.
Coach, you're not making me mad, because actually, Loki is my least favorite one.
Loki's your least favorite too. Yeah.
The number one thing I mean, without getting into crazy detail, episode, but the number one thing is that I just never truly believed, and even though Marvel is literally even in graphics presenting Loki as a hero, I just never understood the motivation for his heroic turn. It just happened so quickly, so abruptly, and so with such little cause. I know he befriended Mobius, and I never quite understood why or how. I was just never quite.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess second, without belaboring the point, is that unlike Moon Knight, which exists as its own beautiful thing in its own corner of the MCU, Loki just seemed like it existed to set up
Yeah.
other. It didn't
That's true.
identity. It was a filler between the films to another film, whereas Moon Knight has a very clear independent identity.
Now,
It
with
does.
what you just said, makes a lot of sense, because even though Loki is down there for me, that doesn't mean I don't think it's one of the more important ones that they've done so far.
Right.
Because I do think it's one of the more important ones with everything that it sets up.
Correct. Right. But in doing that, it's like when I watch Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 2 is just full of references to other things going on in the MCU, and it's setting up, it's mentioning what's going on in Thor and all that stuff, and you're like, well, I want to watch this movie. I want to enjoy this movie. I want closure at the end of this film. Set up something in the stinger, the after credit scene, go right ahead. But that's not what the entirety of the film should be for, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's, Loki, to me, of all of them, I guess has like the least rewatch value, because
Yeah.
I don't know, it didn't have the closure I wanted, and now I think it is a series, correct? Right? I know, because I know
Yeah.
it's not a series, but Loki is a series. What If is a series, so we'll see more. But I would imagine we're not going to see Loki for a number of years, until at least after Quantumania comes out, I would imagine. Which is probably my guess is where we'll see him again. My only guess, but
I would guess so. Yeah.
Now, two questions, and I don't know if you all know, how well has Moon Knight done, like rating wise, and
I don't know, but I'm gonna guess not well. Not well in comparison to the other Marvel Studio shows. I'm sure better than your average like Discovery Channel.
Yeah. I did see something today. I think it was Samba or whatever that is. There was a graphic that showed it did debut the same numbers as Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Which is
So the work what the worst performing one so far for Marvel, and they didn't have What If in here. I don't know why, but they didn't. The worst one has been Hawkeye in regards to performance. It still did really well, but for Marvel.
Right.
And then it was WandaVision.
Isn't
then
that great how spoiled we are that we're talking about like one of these shows doing poorly, but in reality, their poorly is better than any other show could wish for.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's still blowing out all the other
right.
shows, even Hawkeye. It's just as far as Marvel went for what they've had, it's been the lowest.
Well,
and
this
so
is
Moon
why
Knight's kind of right there with Falcon and Winter Soldier, but shockingly, it's Loki who has had the biggest rating success.
Well, this is why I asked that question, because I think out of all of these shows so far, I think they've done a perfect job for Moon Knight to show his origin in this way and segue it to actually big screen movie. Then, like the next thing is going to be a movie of Moon Knight.
Oh, that would be great. I mean, I guess hopefully they'll have something at the closure of episode 6. You know, maybe too soon, but who knows? They got him. They could film it. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely know their plan is to do something with the Midnight Suns. That's been every scooper around has said that's definitely Marvel's plan. You know, they want Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Blade, I guess Black Knight, and they even throw in Daredevil and the Punisher, and although that's never comic wise, but that's their plan. I mean, they're gonna do Midnight Suns, or that's on the table. We'll just have to see who's in it. I'm pretty confident Moon Knight will be in that. I think you're right. He's gonna go to the movies, and whether it's a solo movie or whether he's in a group, he's gonna appear on the big screen.
Oh, that'd be genius. That's a great idea. I hope you're right.
Yeah.
All right,
I hope so too.
my last question to you all is going back to the comics. I saw this today, and I think we all like the comics. I understand that the Punishers, the symbol was changed and stuff, but one thing that really sort of made me take a double take is they said Punisher officially gets a new title in Marvel Universe. So he's going to come up with a new name, and it's going to be Fist of the Beast. Do you like that?
I do not.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. Who is saying that? Who is going to refer to him as that?
Yeah.
Well, it's because he's joining the Hand.
Right. I'm gonna just hope that give it a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not good at all.
Cooler heads will prevail here. You know, emotions are high from the last couple years. Disney and Marvel they're not gonna. They can say they'll do away with it for a while, like you said, Tom. Give it a year here. I mean, I was telling Coach this earlier. Literally, Disney just pulled the Netflix series and put it on Disney Plus. The Punisher season 1 and 2 and his appearance in Daredevil are all on Disney Plus with his skull, front and center.
Right.
So, yeah, this isn't gonna last. I mean, Marvel's gonna continue to make money off of that symbol, and they're gonna continue to push the Punisher. So, yeah, I don't see this lasting at all past this series, whatever this is.
I just want to make sure I'm correct when I say this. So he's not the Punisher. He's the Fist of the Beast.
Yes.
Not the Punisher. They're not calling him the Punisher.
No.
That's
what they said.
That's not even all right. That's not the same character anymore, though.
No,
that's my whole point to this, and this is what I don't understand. I am all for finding a new character. I am all for being creative and creating a new character. I am not all for changing the one that we all grew up reading, changing him so much that he's not even what we used to read.
He's completely unrecognizable at that point. It's like, yeah.
Well, maybe at the end of this, Fist of the Beast can hang out with Rick Grayson and the Electric Superman. They'll all get together.
Yeah, they can all hang out.
Because God,
Guy Gardner Warrior. That was the one I remember.
I wonder if they're sitting in the meeting going, Are we really? Are we doing this? Are we
Yeah.
really, like? Oh my God! All right, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Now
What editor?
that sounds
What
like El
editor signed?
Muerto.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to know the executives. Coach and I already made a comment on this, but the executives at Sony, like, okay, we really want to get a Latino superhero. You know, that's important. Yeah, okay, that sounds like a great idea. Who you got? Who you got? Well, we've got help me out, Muerte.
Muerto.
Muerto. Yeah, he's gonna be great. He's a wrestler. Oh yeah. Well, give me his history. Well, he was in 2 series. Oh, 2 comic series? No, he's only in 2 single issues ever.
Do it now.
Do it.
Right. Say no more. Greenlight it.
Yeah.
Get a couple million.
Oh, I can't even.
Just sitting around the table trying to discuss that. How bad are you feeling if you're the dude that brought that up to say, let's do this one?
And then they continue like, he's this gigantic wrestler. Oh, so who are we going to get? I have this great, small, skinny little, what is it? Bad Bunny. I like where you're going with this.
It just gets worse, man.
So he appeared twice, and you're going to change everything about him. That's it? That's great. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's greenlight that project.
Make it 2 hours.
Right. And make sure he's generic. Like, just call him the Death, but in Spanish. It's terrible. I mean, not Spider Gwen or whatever she's called, Ghost Spider. Not the other
Spider-Man 2099, Miguel. I mean, it's right there.
God.
I mean,
and no, they're gonna go with this, and they're unapologetic about it. It seems.
Yes, 100%.
Hot off the heels of Morbius's disaster. It's like, let's do that guy. That sounds like the perfect plan.
Yeah, I can't. I just nonsensical.
Well, I don't have much more, but Tom, I want you to take some time and explain where you're going to be going. I know you have some big plans in the next couple of weeks, and I think it sounds cool, but let us know what's going on.
After Kevin and Feige and I get back from our retreat, and we lock away the Bible of Marvel for the next 10 years, I am on May 14th at noon going to be presenting a panel at a convention at the Cradle of Aviation in Long Island, New York, a convention called CradleCon, and I'll be presenting a panel on superheroes in the Golden Age and their role in World War II as propaganda. So I'm pretty happy with that. And every day I'm on Cosmic Comic History, putting out things that I find interesting. Everything from the stupid little Jesse McCartney thing here, and random comic book facts that hopefully you could talk about with your friends and go to work and just do what we do and drive your coworkers crazy with your fountain of useless information about comic books.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love them every morning. It's one of the first things I look at.
You know what? When a trailer drops and people at work find me and like, I gotta ask you. I just saw the Doctor Strange trailer. Who was that with the British Captain America shoe? And okay, all right. Now, so yeah, that's always fun to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, and like I said, I don't have anything else. Ace, do you?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for having me.
All right.
You take care.
See you guys.
Bye.